Okay, good evening, Port Royal. How's everybody doing? Good. In here. This is, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. August 14th, 2024, at 6:30. This is our council meeting. You know, we did have our workshop scheduled for last Wednesday. Unfortunately, we did have Tropical Storm Debbie. Hope everybody made it through and dried out, and it looked like we did okay. So we made it through that. So we canceled last Wednesday, but here we are having our council meeting for this Wednesday. Go ahead and get it started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Guerrero, could you lead us in that, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. And invocation, Councilman Owen.
Father, we thank you for the business that we will conduct on tonight. We thank you for your presence, and we thank you for those that have attended this session, Lord God, for the betterment of our town. As we go into to conduct the business, Lord God, we pledge that we build a stronger and a more prosperous community by advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and solving solutions for the betterment of our city and our town. It is in Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Okay. Up next, we've got approval of some minutes. I've got the minutes from the council retreat of February 23rd. Wow, that seems like so long ago. Minutes from the public hearing, July 3rd, 2024. Minutes from our council workshop of July 3rd, 2024. And minutes from the council meeting of July 10th, 2024.
I make a motion to approve minutes from the public hearing of July 3rd, minutes from the council workshop of July 3rd, and minutes from the council meeting on July 10th, 2024.
I'll second.
Oh, any corrections, changes, anything? Okay, all right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Up next, we do have a couple presentations. I take that back. We have one presentation.
No.
Noah's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm billed a little bit more formally than my update actually is.
Okay, got you, yes.
So I just wanted to give a brief update on where we're at with the tree ordinance. After the July council meeting, I met, Brooke and I, you were there, right? Brooke and I met with Coastal Conservation League with Jesse and Grant, along with Michael Murphy, our arborist, just to talk through some of the concerns that the Conservation League had, and some of the things that Michael's working on with us as we put together a final draft of the amendments. So I just wanted to highlight some of the things we talked about with them and make certain that we've kind of come to agreements and all feel comfortable with what's going on there. So we looked at the list of protected species and finalized what species are going to be on that list. We looked at how we are providing certain protections and the way we're mitigating for tree removals on single-family lots of record. So Jesse was really helpful in giving input on that and fine-tuning it so it's cleaner and it's not quite so hard to read in the ordinance. We got some additional definitions on healthy trees and diseased trees, as well as a matrix for arborists to use when they do the reviews for tree permits from Michael Murphy, so that was great. We're going to use that matrix as a part of the tree permit packet so that every certified arborist who writes a report knows what we're expecting from them and the information that we need. And he also is going to finalize the diameters for the protected tree lists so that it was kind of confusing, I think I mentioned that, all the different diameters for similar species, so we're fine-tuning that so that they're kind of easier to understand. And then we agreed that we need to create criteria for the design review board in their landmark tree removal reviews. So we are drafting a few criteria, that way they know the checklist they have rather than taking it case by case, and this way if they meet a certain threshold for a certain amount of criteria, we know that they are within their rights to approve the removal or deny it. And then finally, we agreed upon what we think would be appropriate mitigation fees to recommend. And so we're looking at recommending $500 an inch for landmark trees and $250 an inch for specimen trees. The hope is to have first reading in September, so what I'd like to do is create the final draft of all these amendments here, hopefully in the next week, so that I can distribute it to anybody who's interested in getting a good read and having some time to reflect on it for as long as they can before the September meeting. That goes for council and anybody in the public who's interested.
Tell me again, I just don't remember where we are on the inch for landmark and specimen trees on the dollar value there currently.
Currently, we're at 750 and for landmark and 500 for specimen.
Okay. 750, 500. And y'all propose 500 and 250,
Yes.
landmark and specimen respectively. Okay.
What's the city of Beaufort?
I don't know where they landed because they were still drafting.
Because I knew they were
when
talking about it.
last
That's
time
what
we
I didn't know
met.
if we got like a final.
I can check with them to see, but I don't think it was quite as high as that.
Okay.
I think it was more like 250 and 100, which is what we initially came back with when we first started this review.
That's, I wouldn't never. It's too lenient.
What they're talking about now?
No, 250 and 100.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, so I will ask then, so when do you think you'll have that
September.
ready?
I think end of next week is perfectly
Okay,
reasonable.
and you could get something that council's like formal, and
Yep.
then can we put this on the workshop for August, not August, September? Oh, wow.
Yes.
For September, just have it on the workshop, so then if we can get that in next week, then that gives us a couple weeks to talk about it. Then hopefully that workshop is kind of the last finalizing everything, and then we can have that first clean, first reading at our council meeting in September.
Couple more things I want to just, so when you review and finalize the species, you kept diversity in mind.
Yes, there's a few that we were proposing removing that we are leaving on there, and there's actually a few, so some are still being removed or changed to a different category where the threshold for the diameter is higher, but there are also a few that Michael traded out that he felt were more important to have on the list than certain trees that were there.
And then, tell me again, you said the single-family lots, the protection removal, the single-family lots?
So what we're doing is we're lumping it in with those commercial property exemptions where it's just the lower fee, but you still have to go through the process for a landmark removal. You still have to do the mitigation and all that kind of thing.
Good. I like
That's,
the,
that's single-family lots of record, so that
Right.
wouldn't apply to any new subdivisions or that kind of thing.
and I like the educational, the definition and the educational component about healthy and diseased trees. I think that helps make a better, decision,
Yeah.
get the better answer.
And the risk of failure is a big thing that we're adding in, so people understand.
Right.
We have a clear definition of if a tree has a high risk of failure, elevated risk of failure, it's more likely to be approved for removal for safety reasons.
Okay. Well, it's no secret, we take our trees serious here in Port Royal, so thank you for your effort. That's all the questions. I have, Mayor.
Okay. Sounds good. Any questions, comments? Yeah, so that sounds good. Yeah, so if you can just get us that kind of official updated, what we're talking about, then like I said, we can discuss it, finalize it at the workshop, and then hopefully have that first reading in September. Right?
Thank you.
It's August, right? I'm all thrown off because we missed that last week, so, but, okay, well, thank you. We did have another presentation, that one has been canceled. We'll hopefully have that back at another time. Up next, we've got council briefing.
All right, we'll start out West Paris Avenue. This is one of the grants we received regarding drainage. The only item remaining left is proper registration by Joco Construction for their federal identification. The notice of proceed will be issued once that is accomplished. The villages, that's obviously downtown, basically through 9th, 10th, 11th Street. The conceptual improvements have been created or should be submitted the week of August 5th for town review. 12th Street school parking, construction is about 90% complete. Probably saw some of that gravel moved around the last couple of weeks. We still have more gravel to complete the project, and we're looking at one of the drainage boxes, one of the ones that's closest to Paris. It seemed that they have a little bit of an elevation issue, but it may have been one of the existing boxes that was there, so we're going to address that. The other side of 12th Street, we took into consideration the comments that we did receive, but one question we have left is how to address the large oak tree. We're going to look at potential culverts around that to make sure we preserve the tree and construct it well. I think Noah's looking at some options. I know there were some concerns about how the new homes on the other side of the street would park. But we talked about a little bit of a relocation of the sidewalk and maybe some ankle parking to accomplish that. Right now, it's kind of front-end loaded, so we'll need to work on that as well. Casablanca drainage improvements, the Four Waters is in the middle of that drainage analysis. We're looking at an estimated completion in August. We're still contemplating the stormwater capital improvement program master plan. Four Waters is in the middle of collecting all of the stormwater data to complete that as well. The CDBG grant for Paris Avenue, we've had several meetings to discuss that particular project. I've received the input from all of y'all, and they're going to be making a presentation to council on September 4th for approval to move it forward. That will include the cost estimates for the drainage upgrades as well. Sands Beach grading, staff met with OCRM on August 2nd to try to identify a more permanent path forward. So we obviously, because we're working below the critical line in a critical area, it will require extensive permitting, but we're looking for a more permanent solution. We will have, I did make a request. I know we've got Newkirk Environmental out mentioned in this as delineating the critical line. However, I did make a request of OCRM to come out and do that as well. So
Say again, you said we're looking for a more permanent solution?
yes,
Did everybody hear that? Everybody in the back row here? We're looking for a permanent solution.
because even if you go in there, you're working below the critical line. So everybody needs to understand that. All right, town public works facility, Atlas is in the middle of doing a considerable amount of survey work. It'll be very complementary to what we're doing in the Casablanca file drainage improvements as well. That's really one large basin, so this will provide us with a solution for all of the drainage problems for that particular area. Speed humps, we've had to go back and revisit the counts and speeds in several areas. And this time, Casablanca and West Vine have met the SCDOT criteria to actually install the speed humps, so we'll be able to move those forward. And so we'll lump those together when we do the ones for the downtown area. We are asking them to maybe take a look at Drayton Drive, because Drayton is one of the main cut-throughs from West Vine to Rebo Road, and it's a direct shot. So we need to think about a potential speed hump there. Right now, Lenora Drive does not meet the threshold for the installation of a speed hump for the number of vehicles and the speeds traveled. So
That's just the numbers?
it's the speed criteria. It's really about speed. So
Lenora, yeah, that's.
Naval Hospital sidewalk, I think we're going to bronze the deed that we received today, but we did receive it from the U.S. Department of Navy. It will be forwarded to their environmental officer with the Laurel Roten, who was very instrumental in moving this forward, who was served on one of our committees previously. We will then put SCDOT on notice that we can proceed with the installation of the sidewalk adjacent to the auto parts store and the Navy fence line. So it's very exciting.
So I'm not gonna hold you to it, but we'll get it done in 2024, you think?
No.
Started?
No, I'm not gonna say that. No. So, but yes, soon,
Soon.
absolutely.
That's
It's
been a
not that
long
big of
time coming
project.
right there.
Yes, it started in 2016. So, yeah, exactly. Short-term rental task force, they've been working diligently reviewing the existing ordinance, the draft of the ordinance. I included some notes in the file, in the folder for y'all to review to give you an idea of what they've been doing. They've been meeting weekly.
Yeah.
To do that, and obviously they understand the timelines involved with getting something workable presented to council so that y'all have something in place prior to the expiration of the moratorium. I can tell you that we daily get requests for additional short-term rentals, and so we have informed those folks that right now we're in the middle of a moratorium and we cannot issue any permits for additional short-term rentals.
No, thank you to the people that got on that board. That's like you said, they've been meeting weekly, and none of our other commissions do that. They get together every week, and so I really appreciate them jumping on it and getting right into it, so.
Absolutely, absolutely. Safe Harbor, from what we have been told and understand, they have received their permit for construction of the marina. So that's pretty exciting news. Obviously, we'll be working with them as they move that forward, and the potential contractor that will be constructing those docks. From what you've read in the paper, obviously, there's additional discussion relative to the potential purchase of the Bluff neighborhood. I think that is moving forward. And we're obviously still addressing the issue with Harbor Masters and their business license. And they are the preferred vendor or contractor by the Safe Harbor for the construction of the marina and other marinas, and we'll be working through that issue as well. Do you have any questions about that?
No.
No, sir. Thank you.
The next group that we really probably need to start moving in the right direction is the Sand Beach Park Task Force.
I would just say real quick on Safe Harbor, I think it's, with all these things moving, it's probably good we try to reach out and look at some sort of getting back together with them, you know, I mean, now if all these things are true, I mean, if you're getting permits in hands and things are, you know, things are gonna start moving, it might be good for us to kind of circle back with everybody, you know, so just kind of put that on staff's radar. If you find out they're coming to town or anything like that, maybe we could set something up, so.
Yeah. And then as far as the task force goes for Sands Beach, I think it's time to engage them. We'll probably put them together with Josh Stiller to get some ideas. And I think we'll probably see something that is pretty passive relative to being adjacent to Sands Beach Road. But I think it's a fantastic opportunity. And we did make selections for that task. We haven't made those yet. No. Okay, so we need to do that first.
We're getting applications in.
Yes, let's put that on the agenda.
Okay,
for
let's
September.
vote, yeah.
Get those.
I know, yeah, we've talked about that park, and for everyone that's listening, that's basically, if you go on Sands Beach, towards Sands Beach, going towards Sands, that, everything on that left side, that the town now knows of what to do with that. We've talked about, like you were saying, making that sort of a passive park coming down and connecting that to Sands Beach. There's been discussions about maybe a boardwalk on it to kind of remove pedestrians off of that, and now they can walk on that side closer to the water, onto the marsh, and just kind of preserve that view as you get down and really connect Sands Beach. So that's what he's talking about when he's talking about that. And we are standing up a Sands Beach Park Task Force, and so we're accepting applications on that to come together and kind of start designing and what that looks like and bring that to council. So just wanted to keep everybody, so everybody knows what we're referencing, that's what we're referencing, so.
And just real, on the chief search, we have done a couple of reviews of the resumes that we received, narrowed that pool down to about 6 or 7 at this point, and we're looking to schedule interviews in the next week or so. And once we get there, we'll get to the final candidates. Obviously, we will do a public interface and council interface so that everybody will have an opportunity to meet the finalists, if you will, for the police chief's replacement.
So you're thinking, just so we're just transparent on the process, so we go into the applications, you're gonna narrow that down to a panel, then we'll have some sort of interaction with the community?
We have a hiring committee
Okay.
that will review the 6, and then we'll make a recommendation to y'all on probably a few candidates, and then we'll give you an opportunity for y'all to meet them.
Okay, and then we'll narrow that down to,
Hopefully one.
I got you. Well, I mean, ultimately,
Yeah.
the decision's yours.
Right.
I mean, so I didn't know if you wanted us to get it down to, this is our one, or here's between these two, and leave it, you know. but
No,
like
I think what we probably will do is narrow it down to probably 2 or 3.
Okay. And then kind
Meet the
of,
requirements of the Freedom of Information Act, and make sure that the public has an opportunity to meet those candidates.
go from there.
Y'all can meet those candidates, and we'll get a better understanding, at least the hiring board will, of how that person interacts with both the council and the public.
Great. That's exciting. And when is Chief's last day?
It's in September 6th.
Oh, wow. That's like 3 weeks.
So, and we'll be putting together something.
Give the watch and that's awesome. Yeah, so, okay, well, great. That's exciting.
And then just the last item, I just listed the shrimp dock. Obviously y'all agreed to a concept for the reconstruction of that dock, but with the understanding that we really can't move forward with the construction of that dock until we resolve the issue of Lot G, which is that space between Fish Camp and Shellring. It is owned by Safe Harbor at this point. We obviously have an interest in that property, and we will need that property to build that dock.
Yeah.
But I think we've been working on that as potential swaps. So.
Great.
That's all all I got.
Thank you.
Van, since we were on that side of the road, have we forfeited any funding for crossing the Spanish Mossfield crossing over on Reebok because of the delay?
Not yet. The actual crossing, no. But through the Bluff neighborhood, the town had secured a grant for a little over $1 million to construct a piece that would have exited near Appleton Way and Ritter Circle, and
Right.
traversed the property and tied it in with where the fish camp is. And that $1 million grant would have included, obviously, the construction of the trail, but as well as the necessary stormwater infrastructure to complement the trail.
Okay.
So we haven't had to forfeit it quite yet. They're encouraging us to withdraw our application based upon the issues that were brought up with
Right.
Safe Harbor. But when we applied for that grant, we were of the understanding that there was not going to be an issue.
Okay, thank you.
And I know, speaking with Dean, he has talked about permits had been extended out to get it across the Rebo Road. So there's really no issue there. It's just working out the other side and where that looks like. Is that gonna be with Safe Harbor or potentially someone else? Who knows? But everything's teed up for that to get across. And again, to reiterate for this, this council is absolutely committed to getting Spanish Moss Trail across Rebo Road. So that's very important to all of us. Any questions, any comments for the
No,
council
sir.
briefing for town manager? I was gonna ask if there's any update, how'd we do in Debbie?
We
Yeah,
have.
just overall first, I mean.
Right, we
that's
did
the first one of the
lose
year.
a couple of significant trees, one obviously on Old Shell Road, which we're dealing with.
Saw that
We
one.
did have one that damaged a house. We identified some of our flooding, or flooded areas. We all knew what's going on at West Paris, and obviously we just discussed the grant that will address that. But Jeff worked very well in pulling boards and draining as much as we could of the infrastructure to create those basins to take that water off the streets as quickly as we could. Duck lines is obviously drawn down completely, but it has been refilled. So overall, thank God we have good soils. We did get a lot of rain, not as much as we were told we would get. But overall, I think we performed well. I do warn the public that the ground is still saturated. So be aware of any trees that you have concerns about, because that could be problematic.
Gotcha. Yeah, but like I said, I mean, I drove around, it looked, like I said, overall, performed pretty well, I think. And so,
Yeah, there was some damage to the Sands Beach boat landing. It's the concrete dividers.
I saw
between the
that.
I saw that
Yes,
get
I
eaten
saw
up,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's been reported to the county, and they're aware of it. I think Wilhelm and Jared have put it on their list of repairs. that-
Okay.
yeah.
Evan, is there, Abilene Point gets taken care of pretty good with the rain down there. I mean, the second it starts raining, those folks are down, they're parking on on 170.
Yeah.
Is there anything that they can do, but we can do about, someone can do about that stuff? Have we ever?
Yeah, well,
considered it?
this I've brought up several times. It's adjacent to a DOT road, and it's county infrastructure piping that feeds and draws away from that area. We've brought this up several times, and if you'll note on your property tax bill, there is a separate line item for stormwater drainage for county-owned infrastructure within a municipality. Several years ago, I asked that the dollars that are collected be specific and put into a separate pile to address county-owned infrastructure within our jurisdiction. And I was told that that would happen, but subsequent to that, I was told that all that money would be just put into the general fund of the stormwater infrastructure fund, rather than designated by municipality. So we brought it up several times, and so we will bring it up once again. That, what's fed that system, or what's supposed to feed that system needs drastic improvement, at least the cleaning out, on one end or the other. Unfortunately, we've looked at where that system drains, and obviously most of our systems are tide contingent as well. So if we have high tides, top of heavy rains, depending upon when it arrives, there's no place for the water to go. So that's why it's important to kind of drain through the basins. However, duck lines, caves, and some of the others, we did see some salt water because of the tide's a little bit higher than normal, kind of over top the other end to get into the system. So, but yeah, Abilene Point, we've got to hit them again with that one.
About one time they were supposed to be transferring some of that water underneath 170 on the other side or something.
Well, no, No, it's, that system is all aligned on that one side.
Okay.
So,
All right, any more questions, comments, concerns for staff? Okay. All right, at this time, we'll get into public comment for agenda items. We've got quite a few here for some agenda items. I'll start off right at the top. We've got Mrs. Rebecca Bass. Just a reminder to everyone that comes up, we do have a 3 minutes for the comments. You can just keep an eye on that. If not, it beeps. It's very obnoxious when it does. Yes, if you could just state your name, and yes, good evening, Ms. Bass.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I think most of you know me, but my name is Rebecca Bass. I've owned property of Port Royal for over 20 years. We built our dream house here because we fell in love with the cool coastal ambiance and the natural beauty that you're all familiar with in our area. I'm the one who submitted the application for a text amendment to eliminate storage facilities from the list of permitted uses in the T4 Neighborhood Center open areas of Port Royal. As stated in your comprehensive plan, and I'm quoting it, this is a small and delicate place, and its evolution needs to be carefully considered so that the balance and harmony that make it special is not lost to ubiquitous could-be-anywhereness. We wouldn't be here tonight if we hadn't already passed the hurdle of the Planning Commission, so I wanted to recognize the fact that Judy Alling is here from the Planning Commission and available for any questions that you may have after the public comment is finished. From the analysis that I did with the Planning Department, it looks like there are about 20 vacant lots designated as T4 Neighborhood Center open. Over half of them are large enough to accommodate a storage facility. And it's interesting to note that our rules, your rules, require even more impervious surface around a storage facility than you might expect, which means that that is inviting even more runoff to run into our beautiful estuaries, which are the basis for the beauty that we adore here. A quick Google search for storage facilities in the Port Royal area turned up almost 30 of them, and that doesn't even include the ones that are currently under construction. We don't believe that Port Royal needs any more storage units, and we don't want to become the storage capital of the Lowcountry. With vacant land, we have the potential to add something great to Port Royal that complements the natural beauty and, quote, preserves the character of our built environment. And that quote is one of the citizen concerns that's highlighted in your comprehensive plan. There's nothing that says could be anywhere, like storage units. And I'm going to, with the mayor's permission, quote from a recent article from the Island Packet Beaufort Gazette, in which Mr. Mayor was quoted as saying, residents must be willing to be bold in protecting the amenities that are fueling the population growth or risk losing them. He said that residents have an opportunity to shape growth so it fits the town's personality and environment. And it's okay that people are moving to the area, and certainly I agree, but managing the development will also require bold ordinances. Residents have a right to say how the community grows, otherwise there's the risk of the town's quality of life and environment becoming tarnished, leaving Port Royal anywhere USA. Couldn't agree more with you, Mr. Mayor. We are asking the council to approve the amendment to the zoning so to exclude storage units in the T4 Neighborhood Center open areas. I've finished within my time. I have a short comment to read on behalf of one of our neighbors that couldn't be here this evening, so I hope you'll permit me to start the timer again, but it won't take anywhere near 3 minutes. I represent Warren Hunter, who lives at 31 Wrights Point Circle, and he said, I feel we have an abundance of storage units in Port Royal and would not like the character of the community to be impacted by the addition of even more. Let's focus on attracting small businesses to our open commercial properties that would add character to the town and attract jobs to the area. And we had a number of people who were able to attend the Planning Commission that were unable to be here this evening, so just know that what I'm saying to you represents a whole lot more even than the folks that you see here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rebecca.
All right, up next, Mr. David Strange.
Mayor, council, good to be with you again. Dave Strange, 32 Wrights Point Circle. We've owned property here for going on 12 years now. And I stand here today as a member that served for the better part of 2 very tumultuous years in 2020 and 2021 on the advisory committee that put together the new 10-year plan that we're now living with for the comprehensive improvement, growth, and future of Port Royal. And I'd like to read a couple of excerpts. Rebecca stole one of them from me already. One of the opening sections is called Port Royal's Opportunity. Let me read from that. For any that want to read this later or follow later, it's page 12 and 13 of the report, the 151-page report. Port Royal will continue to evolve based on its deep appreciation and connection with the natural environment, traditional town planning principles that are applied town-wide, equitable access to our citizens to housing, parks, open spaces, and services. Subheading of this section is entitled A Place of Balance and Harmony. Opening line, very few places on earth have the attributes of Port Royal. What Rebecca quoted was the furtherance of that thought, that what we want to avoid in what we plan for is to lose anything that we have and want to develop to could it be anywhere. Yes. I think that's an important, very important line for us to keep in mind. And when I close, I'll go back to that. The master plan for Port Royal achieves, or wants to achieve, to grow more, but grow more of what Port Royal is. In this way, the town will become more complete and improve without losing its identity. The balance comes, I think, from developing land that's most suitable for the economic and the neighborhood achievement that we want to try to accomplish in this period of time. During all of our meetings, there was never a time that we thought or even talked about the benefits of expanding the number of storage facilities that we already have in this area. The emphasis that we really put into what we hoped would develop, particularly along the main corridors and adjacent to the neighborhoods that we all have, is appropriate development. Retail, food service facilities, businesses, and neighborhoods.
Yeah.
T4 open, T4 neighborhood open, anything that includes the word neighborhood, to me, should not include the kind of facility that we're talking about today. Cool, coastal, far from ordinary.
Yes, sir.
Storage units are not cool. Coastal is environmental, and these are certainly not environmental facilities. We want to be far from ordinary. We need to stop putting the kind of facilities that these represent. And we'll achieve that objective.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, up next, Miss Bentley, Nicole.
Good evening,
Good.
Mr. Mayor, Council. My name, can you hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Nicole Bentley. I am a resident of the town of Port Royal at 132 Wrights Point Circle. I'm here tonight to echo Rebecca Bass's comments and my fellow neighbors, very much in support of what Ms. Bass said, in keeping the beauty of our community, and I want to add to that. My husband and I have lived here in some form or fashion since 2010. I'm obviously young. I have little kids. We chose to stay here. We chose to be here and not in Charleston. We don't have a fixed income. We're here to spend money and invest our time and energy here. And we want to invest our time and energy in things that we can care about and see grow. I read an article in 2016 in the Island Packet that had a statistic about young people between the ages of 20 and 44 leaving Beaufort County, a quarter of our population between 20 and 44. I would love to see that updated statistic in 2024 because I think it would be telling. I will say that John O'Toole at Beaufort County Economic Development his partners, including Town of Port Royal, you have all done a lot of work to diversify our economy, diversify our industry, and I think it's up to us as the residents here and the business owners to take that the final step and make our community a place that we want to live and work and play and support the people that are moving here to fill those jobs. Storage units are not that. I don't really feel like I needed to go into explanation there. But that's important to us, is making sure that we keep that momentum and keep it, far from ordinary, exactly what the slogan says. So I will stop there. I don't think I need to say anything further. Rebecca Bass and my neighbors have also said it, but I'm very much in support of instituting this change so that we see less storage units, more restaurants, businesses, places that we can socialize and be part of, and spend our time and stay here and not move to Columbia or Charleston. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bentley. Okay, up next, Mr. Franklin Vandergrift.
Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being here.
My wife is Rebecca Bass. I obviously second everything she said.
You better. Oh, shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to repeat what she said. It makes no sense. You heard her. We were driving back from Savannah a couple of weeks ago, and we came over the Broad River onto Savannah Highway. We thought, let's start looking at this entrance into Port Royal. We started counting. Giant apartment complex, old convenience store, coming on, self-storage, going a little further, self-storage, a junkyard, an abandoned building on the right side. This looks pretty ordinary to me. You can see this any southern city, town, any place in the country. It just doesn't look that good. Down a little further, more storage units. A really ratty-looking convenience store. Looks like it's on cops. And you get out a little further. Okay, you've got a nice Parker's. You turn off the road, make a right turn. Go a little farther, storage units. Go down this way, storage units, and another giant apartment complex. We live right on Battery Creek. When we first moved here, I could throw out a crab trap, pull it up, a couple of days later, it's filled with crabs. My wife makes great crab cakes. About 5 years ago, I stopped getting crabs. I talked to someone from, I guess, a DNR or one of those organizations, and he said, yeah, you know why? Because the salinity of the water has changed. Well, what caused that? See that big apartment complex up there? All that stormwater runoff goes right into the estuary, changes the salinity of the water. Crabs don't like it. I'll tell you who does like it. The other day we were out there, and I'm looking, what the hell was that going down Battery Creek? Right in the center of Battery Creek, a 5-foot alligator. They don't like salt water, so all this hard surface is destroying the estuary. To add to that, then, I agree that we certainly do not need any more storage units. What we need is, and I'm reading your information up here, is attract more businesses to the town business center, and should do, grow the commercial tax base. Those two go together, right? What do you need to attract them? Affordable housing. These people cannot live in storage units, and they don't. And citizens don't live in apartments. I know they come and go, but you need real housing to get good employees and good businesses to come into this area. Apartment dwellers are great. They pay the bills, they pay the taxes for the owners of the apartment complex, but they are not citizens of the town. They may want to be. Maybe one day they'll buy a house, who knows? But right now, they have no connection to the town whatsoever. They live here. A couple of years later, they're going to move and go someplace else. We need to develop affordable housing, and we need to control the stormwater runoff. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Okay.
I want some crab cakes.
Next. Mr. Turner, Range Point. Yes, sir.
Hello, Mayor.
How are you
Council.
doing, sir? Yes, sir.
I too am a resident of Wrights Point. A little different tack than maybe Rebecca and David. I'm new. I've been there about a year, and we picked Port Royal as a place we wanted to come and live and thrive. And my point, I think it's clear about the apartments, right? I mean, I think we prefer that not to be in there. But the thing I would look at is I've lived in Charleston, Raleigh, Charlotte, Nashville, lots of places, and growth is coming. Growth is coming to Port Royal. You know it. It's great to be here and listen to all the wonderful things you got going on. The biggest thing from my standpoint is for the T4 neighborhood center, these are open lands. That is opportunity to really pull a community together. And it's rare to have that much land in certain spots and strategically placed, you know, within your, so I would tell you that because you have that, you can't manage every, you know, opportunity that comes. You have to, you know, do that with some judgment. But I don't think that much land in these areas that are so vital should be used for storage sheds, given the fact we've had so many. And so I would really love to see that land be used, you know, with businesses or, you know, that allow the community to come together, and they're in very critical areas. So I would say that's our biggest opportunity with that land. So that would be my point on that. I do have one other letter, and I have a minute left. Dr. David Babb, who's a dentist here in town, he gave me his letter. He's my next door neighbor, so I'll just read that to get on record with him as well.
Yes, sir.
As a business, as a business owner here in Port Royal, I know that our job to create beauty in all buildings and landscapes that are a part of Port Royal. This is to benefit every town citizen. This is exactly what I did when purchasing and remodeling his dentist office in town. Patients always talk about the immense change that it's had on the curbside appeal, beautifying this little parcel of Port Royal and Paris Island Gateway. We need to take a broader look at applications that are coming forward and what is going to be built in our areas. As for particular the zones being discussed today, do we really need yet another storage facility in front of a beautiful and quiet neighborhood? Personally, I feel that will not beautify Port Royal, and not to mention there's at least 6 other storage facilities within a 1-2 mile radius. The homeowners, of which I am one, deserve better in our great seaside town. So, thanks for hearing us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Look at that.
Can I just want to clarify one thing. There is no application for a storage facility on this property.
Yeah.
What y'all are contemplating is taking that use out of this particular zone.
Yeah,
Okay, just wanted to-
exactly. That is it for agenda items. I have one from Mr. Jackson. It doesn't clarify, so do you want to come up now, Mr. Jackson?
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. Ronald Jackson, 1610 Newport Road. I got a question, really. I got somebody interested in my property, but they want to make sure that they could they can park their vehicles, the trucks on it. And I came down and they said the ordinance or something won't allow that trucks to be parked on the property. So I want to know, you know.
Yeah, just not sure which,
Are you talking about 18-wheelers?
yeah,
No,
what
no,
size
18.
trucks, what ordinance, what, yeah. I just don't,
I know it's no 18-wheeler.
okay. Well, I mean, I can get you those answers. Again, I don't know
What size truck?
what size truck, what the weight is, what the zone is, and then, I
Probably
mean,
like the town hall truck that I be getting.
okay, I don't know that right off the top of my head. I mean, I gotta look into that for you and try to get him an answer. Do you know who they spoke with? I mean, what?
Now, I'm trying because I'm trying to sell my property.
I got you.
I'm trying to find out, you know, if it could be allowed.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I want to get rid of it. And,
That's what I'm trying to figure out, but you said that someone told you they couldn't park trucks on it, so I'm just wondering what trucks they were told, what kind of trucks, what,
I don't exactly know what kind of truck they got, but I know it's no 18-wheeler.
okay.
And I mean, it's a business.
I just didn't know, that's why I
He
asked.
says
if
a
it was
business.
18.
Mr. Jackson, you know who you spoke to here at the town?
Yeah.
Noah, he's
Good
ready.
answer.
Yes.
So if it's a business that wants to store trucks on the property, that's not a permitted use in that zoning district. In fact, we don't The only instance where you'd be allowed to store vehicles like that on a property is at a personal storage facility on the interior between the
It's
buildings.
their business trucks, and ain't nobody else's trucks. It's
Yeah,
their-
that sounds so, I mean, they just want to drive their truck home, their
So
work
it's a-
truck home?
It's a business that wants to park their fleet trucks there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't be able to do that.
Will a business go there on the property?
If a business located there with a building and they had fleet parking
Then that's
behind, they
acceptable.
might be able to, but I don't think
But
that's
not
even
just a-
permitted
So
with
in
the
other
zoning
words, they would
ordinance.
need an office there.
A
That's what
business.
it sounds like.
They would have to have a
So
business.
I would, if, it'd be easier for me to meet with the person that is looking at purchasing it, so they can explain what their business is. We can
Okay.
set that up.
And then
Send 'em
we'll
to
try
see
to help
Noah.
you out,
Yep.
whatever we can.
Send them to see Noah.
Stop in tomorrow again, and we'll set up the meeting.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay,
All right, thank
sound
you.
good? Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Jackson.
you for coming.
Yes, sir. All right, well, that's it for public comment that I have right now. I've got a few more, but they are non-agenda items. We'll get to those at the end. So up next, as we just heard, most of our comments were about this first reading, 2024-16, an ordinance to remove personal storage facilities from the list of permitted uses in the T4 Neighborhood Center Open Zoning District. I know this did come before the Planning Commission. I don't know if you wanted to give a update from that.
I'm sorry,
No, it was a 4-1 recommendation
Okay.
for the removal of storage facilities as a permitted use within the T4 Neighborhood Center zoning district.
Okay. So, well, and I'll talk about this once we get to the discussion part, so, but at a, so this, I'm gonna entertain a motion to approve 2024-16.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? No, well, I'll just go and say, I appreciate the planning commission for getting on this. This is the kind of things that I was excited about when we stood up our own planning commission, was to be able to look at Port Royal and try to make some changes to things that fit Port Royal again with that T4 neighborhood center. It's always been interesting to me because they're right on the main drag, and that's where you see all these storage units. And I've always wondered, why can't they just be back one row? Why do they got to be on the main strip? I understand why they want to be. I mean, it's free advertising. People drive by and see your storage unit and know there's a storage unit there. But at the same time, it's, that is, that frontage, that frontage space. There's only so much of that, and we do want to, get the best usage of that for our citizens. So, again, like I said, I applaud the planning commission and the members of that for taking this up. So.
Well, I think it's where it shows that what we're doing is going back and renewing and looking at things to see what better suits the community. And that's what it's all about, is going back and taking a second look at what's good today, where it might not have been good 10 years from today. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, and thank y'all. Judy, I know you've been on that board a long time.
Any other comments? Okay.
But to clarify, as Van stated also, there is no proposal or no application to build storage units.
Yeah, this isn't about a project.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, this isn't about one project. This
Right.
is about removing something from a zonage
Right.
and just.
So we just
kinda-
wanted to clarify that because we didn't want to read in the paper that Port Royal had just banned, well, I mean, because, or kicked the company out or something. We didn't kick anyone out because no one applied for it. Yeah, so we're just revisiting our zoning, that's all. Okay, no more.
All right, any comments, questions, discussion?
Yeah, we'll take a vote on all that stuff, but I just want to clear there. I like renters. I like people that come into our town, right?
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
rent something until they figure out where they want to be. I do. I mean, a lot of people came to Port Royal first and rented before they moved in.
Yeah.
And also I know the storage units, we've got a military population, and they're in and out, and I support the military. And oftentimes they're in a situation where they have to put things in storage units, so I want to recognize that also. So I appreciate everybody's concerns, but I want that to be on the record, and I want you to consider that too, because there's more to Port Royal than, we don't want renters, because we do. They pay taxes too, and they're people, and they have rights too. I know a lot of people in here are renters, and they vote, and they pay taxes, and they show up and they support our community. So thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah, when I first moved here, I rented. So,
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So, yeah, again, but, again, thank you for the planning commission. So at this time, I'll call to order, take a vote that we approve 2024-16. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. Thank you. Up next is a resolution, Resolution 11-2024, resolution.
No.
Next month, we'll have a second vote on it. Yes. We do, and here's, it's 2 readings are official here in Fort Worth, so. And that our next meeting will be the second Wednesday of the next month. Up next, we have a resolution, 11-2024, a resolution of the Town of Port Royal, South Carolina Town Council approving the expenditure of ARPA funds, America Rescue Plan Act funds from COVID. Remember that COVID thing? Funds for fiscal year 2024-2025. So,
Yeah, just real
kinda
quickly,
give a
that
little,
was, this resolution is prompted by some purchases that we were contemplating for the Public Works Department. Obviously, initially, we're talking about cameras, some additional fencing and security, as well as the purchase of backhoe, which we discussed during the budget process. But in those discussions, obviously, we needed to identify the spending that we anticipated in the current fiscal year that would be ARPA related. And so what you'll see attached to that second page of the resolution, which I can put up for you, if you take a look at it, are the expenditures anticipated. And so we just need an adoption of the resolution that would identify the spending for this current fiscal year. And just for additional clarification, the purchases of the cameras, the fence, and the backhoe are all in compliance with the procurement code, either through state contract or through competitive bidding.
Is it an additional rogue?
yeah.
And then if you all recall it, initially there were 3 things that you could spend dollars on with ARPA funds, but if you received less than $10 million, they basically got rid of those specifications because they realized that the 3 pots of projects that they identified, there was no way that those dollars were going to be spent within the time frame involved. And to be quite honest with you, I think 26 is when most of those dollars have to be spent. There are 2 things at play now. There aren't really enough contractors to address a lot of the projects, and the pricing is significantly different than it was.
Do something with that park playground.
So, but what you're doing here is just adoption of the resolution for the spending
Yes, I agree.
identified as the separate.
Okay. So just to clarify that for everybody, as we know, during the American Rescue Plan back, a bunch of money was given out to the state. Some of that was deviated to the county, and then, of course, municipalities got some based on your population. We have got to spend that money, and it's got to be designated for that. So this first round of stuff that we're kind of, if you look at it, it really is just some kind of maintenance stuff that we put off for a while. It's painting the building, well, putting bulletproof glass on the wall, on the office in there.
What's the mobile unit for?
Cleaning up the trucks, fixing, it's a lot of just kind of maintenance stuff right now, so.
What's the mobile unit for $100,000?
Which,
Second.
Next to the last.
mobile unit.
Van, what's the mobile?
What's the mobile unit?
Police department, mobile unit, I can't remember the specifics. Y'all discussed this during the budget process.
Mhm. For
Oh,
events?
yeah, okay. I do remember that.
And this is a third rogue, an additional rogue?
No, that was probably one we've already.
You already have? Okay.
All right.
Was that the total amount right there? Or is there more?
Well, we have 5.2 million total, so but that's
Oh,
what's in this fiscal.
so this is not all inclusive, so,
Right.
okay,
We have to
good.
do a year by
Okay,
year.
So we can
just add some
add
more
to-
to this
Oh,
list.
absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we still got.
You have a Spanish Moss Trail to build, you've got a boardwalk to build.
Drainage
adjacent to the
projects.
Spanish Park.
Some parks.
Playground?
Playgrounds,
Playground equipment,
playground
new
equipment.
playground
Can we
equipment.
maybe look at something in Casablanca, because I think that's.
Yeah, I think they're overdue.
Well, yeah, the Casablanca drainage project is probably gonna be well over $1 million.
Okay.
And that apparatus that they got on that playground.
Which is in great shape, by the way.
But it's the smallest one in the town,
It's the latest one.
the smallest in the town.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so, resolution, here we go, kind of explain that. Any other questions, comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion that we
to
pass, yeah.
Pass Resolution 11-2024, resolution of the town approving the expenditure of ARPA funds for fiscal year 24-25.
Second.
Second, all right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Resolution passed. Okay, up next, important dates. We got quite a few coming up. We're getting out of the brutal heat of the summer, stepping into the fall. Everybody's going to be back outside, and so here's some events coming up. Really interesting stuff starting up tomorrow. I'm sure you've seen the program that we're doing, Off the Eaten Path. It's kind of like a
bingo.
Yeah, bingo. Get your card and go around the restaurants in Port Royal, Madison's, Fish Camp, Maynard's, Smokehouse, all of those. Hit
Chef
those up.
Frank's
They've got something
Bistro.
special that they're doing, trying to, get them all, and it's just a fun way to support local restaurants and businesses for the next 10 days, August 15th through the 25th, Off the Eaten Path. We've also got Friday, this upcoming Friday the 16th at AMVETS, a stand-down event at 9 a.m. So that's about homeless veterans. If you want to come up there and help volunteer, you can bring supplies too. If you look online, they can let you know what they're in need of and what they're trying to do. But it is an event for veteran homelessness at AMVETS this Friday at 9 a.m. Next Tuesday, August 20th, Redevelopment Commission. And then very excited, August 24th, Library Ribbon Cutting. That sign looks so nice out there. I love seeing it when we drive past. Then that same day, Street Music on Paris again, August 24th. Planning Commission, the 26th. Labor Day, we're taking that off. And then the Short-Term Rental Task Force meets Thursday, of course, every Thursday. So those will be going on as well, too. So those are the dates. I'm glad to see that stand-down event on there. Any other dates to add? Any additions, subtraction? I know that's a lot for the next month. No? Okay. All right, now I'll move over. I've got some public comment here for non-agenda items. Colleen Johnson, you okay? Okay. No way. She even wrote on there, don't need to speak, just have a question, so I was just double checking. Gotcha. All right, up next, Mr. Jones, Stephen Jones.
It's okay.
I'd like the town to notice that I am wearing shoes.
Yes, we have.
Two of them, one on each foot.
Wow.
Boy, we're
So
impressed.
my mother's soul can rest at peace now that I didn't show up barefoot. I have a question. From the last time I was here, has anybody on the council even come down on 12th Street and looked at the situation we have? Come down at nighttime. I mean, I'm interested right now to see what it's like when I get back. I had somebody pull up in my yard today and want to know, can I park here? They're going to go to AA and they want to know if they can park in my yard. And that's what we've got. We've got a situation that's getting worse and worse. And since I talked here last, I've almost been hit by a car twice because they come around the corner and they can't see what's going on. And it's nighttime. There's no sidewalk to walk on. I have to walk on the shoulder. And these people at AA are parking all on the shoulder, so I can't even walk on the shoulder. I have to try to walk in the other lane. And every time I turn around, I nearly got run over. No one can see me because there's no street lights. You know, they're parking all over the place. And this has been going on now. I've been coming up here and talking about this for almost 10 years since I moved back. And it's done nothing but gotten worse. And they built houses across the street with garages that people can't park in. So they park in front of the house now. So it's creating more of a parking problem. There's no way they can get in their parking garages to park their cars. I don't understand it. It's getting worse and it's getting worse. And there's just, why can't they just put signs on the side of the road, no parking on the shoulder? For safety reasons. I mean, they do it everywhere else. I know they've issued tickets to people for parking on the wrong side of the road, but it doesn't matter if they're parking on, facing traffic, if they're parked to the point where you can't move on the shoulder and can't move around. So I don't know. If they came down and started writing tickets down there, I know the town of Port Royal would have a lot of money. They'd be making out. So that's all. I'm coming for answers. What's anybody thought about? What can be done?
Well, the only thing, is just kind of direct police to like you're right, just ticket people if they're parked incorrectly. I mean, if they're parked wrong, they're wrong. I mean, if they're not, if they're parked in a parking spot, they're
Well,
they're
see,
in a
I'm
parking
being
spot.
told that it's not wrong, that there's nothing that says they can't park on that shoulder as long as they're parking facing in the correct direction, that they can park there. So, I mean, I don't understand it, and I understand it's not an issue that's going to be in every neighborhood. But I happen to be in a neighborhood where they've allowed a business to come in. AA has gotten nothing but bigger in the last 10 years. And part of that's due to the diligence of law enforcement that are actually going out and catching drunk drivers. And now they're having to go to these courses at AA meetings. So it means that more people are coming, in addition to the people that are actually coming there on a regular basis. So, I mean, something's got to be done.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I mean, I'm just going to keep recording it and documenting it, and then whenever I get hit, I'm going to make sure that my family can sue the town of Port Royal for not doing their due diligence and protecting my safety. So I don't know. I mean, I'd like to hear some ideas of what
Okay.
anybody's thought of.
Okay. Well, right now, we're just doing public comment, so it's not really the dialogue back and forth to solve it right now. Again, we'll,
But if you recall from the beginning of the briefing, we talked about the sidewalk that's about to be constructed on that side.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with the parking on that side. We've been talking about it for several months now. We talked about it at the last meeting, we talked about it this meeting. So the only thing that we're
Sidewalks.
doing now is trying to address the live oaks, which obviously are very important to people. So we're trying to integrate that live oak into the parking plan as well as the sidewalks for that area.
yep.
Are they doing the sidewalks there on 12th Street anytime soon? I know
Yes.
about a year
He
or
says
so ago,
yes.
before they started that construction across the street, they actually came and put hangers on the doors saying they were going to do the sidewalks, asking people to move cars. But then when they started construction, that was going to be the end of that because they can't get any equipment in there. So, you know, I understand that, but it seems like
Answer
once
is yes.
they do that, it's just going to be difficult.
What's the authority there for parking, Van? Is that like, if I own this house, that's my parking up there, or is that just public parking?
If there's a right of way and they can get all four tires off the road,
Right.
they're legally parked as long as they're parked in the right direction.
And the
So if we do
sidewalk.
some with that, then we have to push that traffic somewhere. Like, they're gonna go park somewhere, so your friends on 11th will feel it after that.
They
And
need
then
to
at
go
that point,
Paris.
we have them on Ribbo, and then we need a parking lot, not even a storage facility, we need a parking lot.
Yeah, the biggest problem right now is not with the residents
Right, it's
that are
the-
living there.
it's
It's
the-
with the people that are going to
appreciate
AA.
that.
Right,
Right.
again,
And-
where we're at today,
Yeah.
that's where we're at. And again, if we wanna do something, you're asking for answers, and we're telling you it's public comment, okay, well, we can't do anything about it today, but if we do something about it today, it's gonna look like 11th Street catches up.
There's ample
Or
parking on
13th,
Paris Avenue.
right? Like, that's
They
the
just need to
only
walk.
answer that there is there.
There's ample parking on Paris Avenue, they just need to walk.
Yeah, that's what Paris Avenue is supposed to be for
Exactly.
overflow parking, and they're not doing it. And then if they put in the sidewalk in front of, I know I'm way over my time.
Yeah, and we
I-
gotta be respectful of
I mean,
everybody's time.
I can't get any answers
Well,
anywhere else.
we're
at
working
any
on
time.
something. We've got some sidewalks, and I've got a
And that's
question if
gonna-
you'll
that's
allow
gonna
me to
force
talk
We already
about
have
it.
the contractor selected. The last thing was trying
That's
to
gonna
figure
force
out
them
where to
out.
put the bottom of an oak tree, which I explained at the very beginning of this meeting.
You did.
Something we
You did.
talked about at the last meeting.
You did,
Right.
you did.
Yeah,
And that's
so
gonna
we're
force
working
them.
on it.
Can,
Stephen, sidewalks coming.
Yeah.
have we
But
seen,
right now, the law is, if you, the property out in front of your house is not yours if it's in the right of way.
right,
And people park in front of my house in the village every single day almost in the right of way. If y'all wanna change the law and disallow people not to park in the right of way, you need to do that. But right now, Ron Winkelman and his police officers have absolutely no authority to tell somebody that they can't park in the right of way unless they park on the concrete or in the wrong direction.
But as you just said, there's about to be a sidewalk, and
Right.
Yes.
Now,
And you can't
once
park-
that
and you
is-
can't park on a
And
sidewalk.
that'll be resolved once the
Exactly.
sidewalks come in.
Once the sidewalk's there, they can't block that. So that's it.
But what about going all the way up to the stop sign? Because, I mean,
Well,
that's all.
that's all part of the Paris Avenue plan that you're gonna see in September.
Yeah,
Good.
'cause that-
Okay, it's coming.
When I came by tonight, I'm making a point to look down there, and I saw where cars were all the way to the stop sign. So
That's-
really,
that's every
people
day.
coming up 12th wouldn't be able to see it because the truck was parked in front of the stop sign.
But I will say this, we have those issues. How many accidents have we had downtown, Ron? I said Ron.
No.
Yeah. Paris Avenue. How many accidents on Paris Avenue? Right.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Can we just contact the owner, the manager, whoever runs the facility, and send them a
I think
letter?
we've
and
done
talk-
that.
Just
You know
talk
how,
with
let
them.
me explain to
And
you,
say, look, here's-
Alcoholics Anonymous. That has been one of the impediments to this entire thing. Getting someone on the phone that we can actually deal with, that has the actual authority to do anything, has been a challenge. The nature of the organization makes it very interesting.
Secretive.
And if you've noted, and I've purposely not, in all the meetings we've discussed this, mentioned that there's an Alcoholics Anonymous building on 12th Street. There's a reason for that. And that's why I've always referred to it as this 12th Street project. But obviously, we're going to talk about it publicly now, and so that's one of the impediments we've had. We're talking about people that have court-ordered to go to this facility or attending for whatever reason. So, yeah, there's some issues relative to working with the organization. We have for the last couple of years, we came up with a parking plan. Because they park in the front yard, they park. Listen, the people going to that building, one of the last concerns that they have is where they're parking, to be quite honest with you. So, we have been working to organize the parking. We came up with a concept plan. We have a contractor selected. The last thing was the oak tree that we're dealing with on site. We've got a plan for the parking that's in front of the units. And I actually did see a couple of the cars parked in the rear the other day. Is it ideal? No, but we all know the history of that project as well. It's one less house than it was supposed to be because of the oak tree issue. So that was a mediated settlement that this council approved. So that's what we're dealing with. But right now, we've had no accidents on 12th Street. We've had no pedestrians hit on 12th Street. We've had no dogs hit on 12th Street. But we're going to fix the sidewalk problem.
Yeah. And in the meantime, we have police officers, and if anyone's parked illegally, they get a ticket.
And if somebody parks in your yard, call the police, we'll tow them.
Yeah.
But I think, and I respect the job that our officers do, and also, and then, you know, that we also short-staffed like everyone also, but I would like to see some cohesiveness also, because I witnessed recently an officer issuing tickets down at the Sands for people parking in the boat parking area. And then later, I see people come out there and park, and officers just come and just drive through and wave. So either we're gonna be consistent and enforce it, or not, because, you know, there's a select group of people that got tickets, and then other day, everyone else just says, okay, you can park there, and there's no problem. So I think we need to have some type of cohesiveness in regards to that as well.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. Everybody good?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we have a conversation with them. Make sure we dive into this, send them a letter. Hey, guys, this is the problem. You do such good work in the community. But on this side, we're causing a lot of pain and heartache.
Yep.
So can you remind your folks how to park, where to park, and not to park in certain places? We got plenty of free parking, free,
Up and down.
along Paris Avenue.
Yep.
And it probably wouldn't hurt you to walk a little bit.
No.
So, I mean, come on, let's be good neighbors. You're doing a good thing. You've got a good mission.
They're not neighbors.
You know, so let's be considerate of the impact that you're in the community, that you have in the community. And sometimes just talking to somebody,
I agree.
you know, helps.
Most violators in Port Royal don't live in Port Royal.
I don't know. But anyway, I just want to get that off my chest.
No,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Yes, sir. Okay, y'all good? Yeah. All right, next question, next comment, Mr. John Housley. And no,
Well, Mayor and council members, I'm John Housley. I'd like to talk about the Sands. A lot of people here in this part of the old part of Port Royal have golf carts. And there's a place out on the Sands where you can take your golf cart. The only problem is you gotta go through the water to get there. And if you've got a golf cart that sits a little low, you're gonna run the engine right through water and it'll short it out. And so most of the time, there's water there. So, I know a lot of people would appreciate, whatever we're doing at the Sands, if there could be a place that was safe, that you could take your golf cart across to get out there to the place for golf carts. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ben touched on that earlier.
Yeah,
about the-
absolutely, yeah.
The requirements.
Yeah, we did discuss that during the council briefing, and, yeah, we're working on that. Again, like I said, OCRM was actually down in Port Royal on the 2nd, having a meeting here, so putting eyes on the situation. So, okay, we got one, another one, Mr. Charlie Russo.
Hi, Charlie. What's up, buddy?
I'm sorry, this was very just last minute impromptu, so I'll definitely keep it under 3 minutes. But in response to the storage facilities, I'm thinking of a baseball movie, Build It and They Will Come. There's obviously a demand. And rather than legislation to stop the construction, how do we reduce the citizenry's demand for storage units? So how about we think of some creative ways to get people to get rid of their stuff?
Okay.
Things like, just sitting here I'm thinking about maybe a community swap meet where, hey, bring your stuff down to a park and we can trade things off, something to that extent. Asking the county to lower the restrictions on a certain weekend where you don't need your decal permit. Bring your stuff, get rid of it, instead of paying $100 a month or whatever it is. You know, things like that where people don't necessarily need. Something even maybe like a tax credit to citizens. If you had a storage unit for a year to show us proof that you don't need that storage unit anymore, here's $100 off your tax. Just some creative ways to reduce the demand of storage units.
No, I like it.
That's all I got to say.
Hey, I like it, Charlie. That's
Could I hire you to come
Absolutely.
in my storage shed?
Thank you.
being creative. I appreciate that. Yes, sir. All right, and last but not least, Mrs. Alice Howard, County Councilwoman, Beaufort County District 4. Yes, ma'am. I saved the best for last.
Wanted to repeat that there's going to be an activity for veterans at AMVETS that our Beaufort County Veterans Office is sponsoring on Friday morning at 9 o'clock, and I hope all y'all can drop by. I plan on dropping by. I think it's going to be a great event. And the most important event, two of them. August 21st at 2 o'clock is the soft opening of the library. So you can come by and start using your library card starting that day. And then, as you said earlier, the grand opening is August 24th, and I see Charlotte's here, and I hope she'll be there for the Samuel E. Murray Library grand opening. And the Friends of the Library will have refreshments at it, so that's going to be at 10 o'clock, and I hope we get a lot of children there, too, for the grand opening. So it should be a wonderful event. And I noted what Mr. Willis said about Aberley Point, and I'll do a follow-up about the stormwater infrastructure on that. I'm assuming a while back there must have been a work request for that, or?
About 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. No telling where that's at
Yeah.
now. Okay. I'll put one in if but you're sure it's county stormwater infrastructure. Okay. All right. And y'all have anything for me?
It was just good having you representing us.
I'm just so excited about this library. I know y'all are.
I know.
I am.
And just want to say and let everybody know, too, just thank you so much for your help with, one, getting it there, but two, then getting it named after Sam Murray. That was a little bit, that was something that Councilwoman Owens brought up. Yeah. But there was some issues. That wasn't a slam dunk. It took some convincing.
That we've done a library.
That they've named a library after the person. It's the first one. They're usually named, the Beaufort Library, the St. Helena
The
Library.
Lobico Library.
They're locational in their name. So this is the first one that's named after a person. And so thank you so much. That was a lot of help from you doing that. So.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
I got one. Yeah, if you're looking at drainage, we put a work order in off of Battery Creek Road and what was that address? Battery Point? I met you at the other day. Where Ellen Fabian lives. Battery Park Road.
Okay. And did you put it on the county website?
We did it with SCDOT. Ross helped me do that.
Yeah, it's probably
her house
under their jurisdiction.
was that close to just being totally flooded during.
It was getting there.
Yeah, and if you want to put it on the county website, they'll follow up with DOT too. But DOT's, I'm sure that's their responsibility.
That one is definitely theirs.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's theirs. Yeah.
And we got to figure out a ditch or something. There's no way for the water to move. I mean, her whole yard, and you know Ellen,
I know
her whole yard was underwater. And I'd encourage you to talk to her and see what her thoughts are. But she's been dealing with that problem for a long time.
Yeah, I'll talk to the county too, because sometimes they'll do things for DOT that DOT can't get to. so
Yeah.
maybe
Put that on your radar.
Okay,
I
I will.
appreciate it.
Well, you said when we were down there was no drainage.
There's no ditches, no
down the road
swells,
when we were
no-
out there, so.
No, and if the house is on slab and it's below grade,
And
Yeah.
It is on slab.
yeah, and the road's here and the house is here,
That's exactly what's going on. Yep.
gravity wins.
And there's no ditch
Every time.
to catch it. There's nothing, there's no drain, yep.
I don't know what to do in a situation like that.
You have to think those houses were built probably 34 years ago. The codes
Before
were
the flood
completely
zone.
different. You couldn't build that anymore.
Right.
Long time.
So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Public comment, council comment?
No, sir.
Councilman Ashmore?
I'm good, thank you.
Councilman Owen?
I'm good.
Mayor Pro
Good.
Tem? Councilman?
Good, thank you.
All right, I'll just say one thing, congratulations to Strickland Brothers. They opened up here recently, had a ribbon cutting, I've already gone, had my oil changed, you guys did a great job. Absolutely, yep. You guys did a great job. So right now, I think they got 50% off for the first month? Yeah. So thanks for being in Port Royal, and congratulations on the grand opening, that was really special. Exactly, sure, yes, sir. Okay, all right, if there's nothing else for the good of the town, motion to adjourn?
Someone?
All right, we're done.
you.
Thank you. Y'all have a
Thank
great
y'all for
night.
being
Thank you
here.
so much.